Hey mate, yeah, the YouTube's going really well. It's just like you said. The more flesh I show, the more views I get. Yeah, I mean honestly, my subscriber numbers doubled since I stopped wearing a bra. I mean, there is a bit of me that feels bad about it. I mean, do they just sort of see me as an object, as a piece of meat? Do they not appreciate me as a person for my knowledge of history? But I mean, you got to do what you got to do to get views, right? Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, it's the way the world is. And you reckon undo top button? Okay, cool. Hello and a very warm welcome to British Guy Reacts. It is a real pleasure to have you. So today I'm going to react to a history of the entire world, I guess. Well, I love that, I guess. A little bit of doubt. So obviously this is a hugely ambitious project. It's 20 minutes, and if they've managed to cover the history of the entire world in 20 minutes, that is amazing. So as always, the original video will be in the description. Go give them some love. I'm sure it's a great channel, and I hope you enjoy the video. So this is from Bill Wurtz, and it's got 134 million views, which is just insane, and over 5 million likes. So it should be good. I'm genuinely excited, and let's go.
Hi, you're on a rock, floating in space. Pretty
True.
cool, huh? Some of it's water. Fuck it.
Also
Actually,
true.
most of it's water. I can't even get from here to there without buying a boat. It's sad. I'm sad. I miss you. A long time ago, actually never, and also now, nothing is nowhere. When? Never. Makes sense, right? Like I said, it didn't happen. Nothing was...
Okay, honestly, at this point, I feel like I'm tripping. I think it lost me about 20 seconds ago. Although I suppose on the plus side, if that's what tripping is, it's not as bad as I expected it to be. So take the wins where you can.
It's never anywhere. That's why it's been everywhere. It's been so everywhere, you don't need a where. You don't even need a when. That's how every it gets.
Let's just say I understand this. This all makes complete sense, and that's the story we're going with. I think. Has it got more, or is that the?
Forget this. I want to be something. Go somewhere. Do something. I want things to change.
Quite right.
Invent time and space, and I know it's possible because everything is here, and it probably already happened. I just don't know when to start, and that's exactly where it started. I paused it. I think there's a universe now. What's it made of?
Yes.
Parts and stuff. Ah, that's a thing. In a place.
Okay, so
don't like it?
this is, I mean, clearly it's gone back to the beginning of the universe, which is great. It's a good place to start. If they do it like chronologically in terms of the actual timeline, it means that the history of humans will be covered in about 1.5 seconds. So we'll assume they're not actually going to do that. But yeah, I mean, clearly there's some physics stuff I don't understand, which would be really interesting to get into. Maybe I'll do a video on it at some point. I mean, history's more my thing, but let's see how it goes.
Try a new place at a different time. Try to stick together because the world is going to get bigger and emptier. But it's not empty yet. It's still very full and about 1 jillion degrees.
Right.
Great news. The quarks are now happily married.
Way!
Proton
Good for you, quirks.
And there's something else
I
flying
love a
around too
quirk.
that wants to join in but can't because it's still too... Great news. The protons and neutrons are now happily married to each other. Some of them even...
That is fantastic
Great news.
news.
The electrons have now joined in. Congratulations. The
It's like
world
I've turned
is
into a
now
fucking
bunch of gas
orgy.
in space. But it's getting closer together. And it's
10
getting
million
closer
years
together.
later. 500 million years later.
It's a star.
Woo!
New shit just got made. Some stars burn out and die. Bigger
Okay.
stars burn out and die with passion and make some brand new, way crazier shit.
Okay, now I feel like I'm sort of watching Doctor Who drunk. That's the perception I'm getting.
Which allows newer, more interesting stars to be made and then die and explode into... So now stars have cool stuff around them, like rocks, ice, and funny clouds, which can make some very interesting things. Like this ball
The
of flaming
planets!
rocks, for example. Holy shit, we just got hit with another ball of flaming rocks. And it made a mess, which is... Weather update, it's raining rocks from outer space. Weather update, those rocks might have had water inside them and now there's hot steam in the sky. Weather update, cooler temperatures today in the floor...
Oh, so it was... So asteroids or rocks filled with water made the Earth habitable? Is that what they're saying? It's kind of interesting.
No longer lava. Weather update, it's raining. Severe flooding alert, the entire world is now an ocean.
It's England, it's definitely raining for me.
There's nothing in the ocean. What? Something's alive in the
Woo!
ocean. Oh cool, like a plant or an animal? No, a microscopic speck. It lives at the bottom of the ocean and eats chemical soup, which is being served hot and fresh, made from gnarly space ingredients.
Honestly, I've had worse at some kebab vans.
And it can do that. It has secret instructions written inside itself telling it how to build another one of itself. So that's pretty nifty, I would say. Tired of living at the bottom of the ocean? Now you can eat sunlight. Using a revolutionary technique, you can convert sunlight into food. Side effect, now there's oxygen everywhere and the sky's blue. Then the Earth might have been a snowball for a while, maybe even a couple of times.
Oh, wow.
It's a sponge.
I did not know that.
It's a worm and some other types of weird, strange water bugs and strange fish. It's the Cambrian explosion.
There is
Wow, that's animals and stuff.
there is a
But we're
lot of
still in the
crazy
ocean.
shit
Can we
to
go on
see.
land? No. Why? The sun is a deadly laser. Oh, okay. Not anymore, there's a blanket. Now the animals.
So why did the ozone layer appear? I don't know, because apparently that's a key point of allowing animals to leave the water. Anyway, I'm curious about that. I'll Google it after.
Can go on land. Come on, animals, let's go on land. Nope,
Yeah.
can't walk yet. And there's no food yet, so I don't care. Okay, will you learn to walk if there's
I
plants
mean,
up here?
the length of time you're dealing with, like 100 million years, is incredible. Like, you think about how long humans have actually existed for, and it's a brief speck of time. How long human civilization has existed for? Even less time. So, how much humans have actually achieved in the relatively short amount of time we've had agriculture and so on is pretty amazing, really, I think.
Maybe, said some bugs. And fish.
Oh, he wants to get the bug, doesn't he?
Okay, so I
5
can go on
billion
land, but I have
years.
to go back in the water to have babies. Learn to use an egg. I was already doing that. Use a stronger egg. Put water in it. Have a baby on land in an egg. Water is in the egg. Baby in the egg.
Oh,
in
so
water,
this is
in the egg.
like amphibians, reptiles.
And now everything's huge.
550
Wanna
million
see a map of
years.
the land? Sure.
That's a dinosaurs.
Oh fuck, now everything's dead. Just kidding, here are the survivors. Keep your eye on this one because it's about to become the dinosaurs. Here's another map of the land. Yeah, it broke apart, don't worry about it.
Oh,
It's been a
so
long time. Here comes
okay, so I was wrong. It wasn't the dinosaurs earlier. It was some kind of earlier reptiles. But yeah, now we're in the dinosaur age.
And the dinosaurs are gone.
No!
It's mammal time. Here come the mammals. Look at those breasts. Now they're going to dominate the world, and one of them just learned how to grab stuff.
Hey, this video is going to get censored now. Cheers, guys.
And walk. No, like, walk like that. And grab stuff at the same time. And bang rocks together to make pointed rocks. Out.
So this is a kind of interesting point that he hasn't really touched on, is that there are lots of different species of early humans, and the only one that survived, obviously, is Homo sapiens. So other ones like the Neanderthals, there were a whole bunch of them didn't make it. There's a really interesting question as to what would have happened if some of the other humans had survived. Like, as a species, we've never had to deal with an intelligence remotely comparable to our own. I mean, the other smartest animals are dolphins and chimpanzees, and they're way below us. So I think it's a fascinating alternate history in which humans had to deal with and live with other humanoid species of not the same level of intellect, but kind of comparable as we got into advanced age, and how that would work. I think that's really fascinating.
And set things on fire. Youch. And make crazy sounds with their voice, which can mean different things. That's a human person. And now they're everywhere. Almost. Ice Age. What? You can walk over here? Cool. Not anymore. Well, I guess we're stuck here now. Let's review. There's people on the planet. And they're chasing their food. Fuck it, time to plant some grass. Look at this. I control the food now. Now everyone will want to be my
So this is the kind of the domestication of plants. So the first introduction of agriculture, which was one of the first great revolutions in human history.
friend and live near me. Let's all build houses, except mine is bigger because I own the food. This is great. I wonder if anyone else is doing this. Tired of using rocks for a...
And obviously that map kind of shows where it first began. So the first kind of bastions of human civilization, which were Mesopotamia, so modern Iraq, the Indus Valley in India, parts of China, I think, and maybe a few other places, but they were kind of the main ones.
Everything? Use metal. It's underground. Better farming was just invented in a sweet dank valley right in between these two rivers, and the animals are helping. Guess what happens next? More food, and more people who came to buy the food. Now you need people to help make the food and keep track of the sales. And now you need houses for people to live in and people to make the houses. And now there's more people and they invent things, which makes things better. And more people come and there's more farming and more people.
I mean, it seems like he's taking a piss, but it's actually quite a good analogy, because human progress essentially goes like this. And once we hit that, for a very long time in our history, I mean hundreds of thousands of years, we didn't really do very much. We just lived in hunter-gatherer societies. And once we started making progress, it really started to snowball. So the Industrial Revolution was only a century and a half ago, something like that. I mean, the computer age is 50 years old. So it's kind of insane how progress has increased exponentially.
People to make more things for more people, and now there's business, money, laws, power,
civilization.
To a dank river valley near you. Meanwhile, out in the middle of nowhere, the horse is probably being tamed. Why is all that metal so lame and lumpy? Tired of using lame, sad metal? Introducing bronze, made with special ingredient tin from the far lands of Tinland. I don't know.
I wonder how they first, how smelting first happened is something I would love to know. Like, how did that process decide we try this and see what happens, and wow, we've made a metal. I mean, I suppose in like 200,000 years you try virtually everything, but It's a really interesting question.
No, my dealer won't tell me where he gets it. Also, guess what? Meanwhile, out in the middle of nowhere, they figured out how to put wheels on a horse. Now we're getting somewhere. Also, China. Did I mention Indus civilization?
So these are like the first main civilizations that the kind of the first time that humans started doing things like recording writing and having kind of structured agriculture, structured societies.
The Middle East is getting more complicated. Maybe because it's in the middle of the East. Knock knock, or clop clop. It's the people with the horses. And they made an empire. And then everyone else copied their horses. Greeks! Ah, look, it must be the Greeks. Or a beta version of the Greeks. Let's check in with the Indus River Valley civilization. They're gone. Guess who's not
gone?
No!
So actually what I like about these videos, it's not too Western centric. So definitely when I was at school, we did tons on the Greeks and nothing at all on the Indus Valley, on India, on China, etc. Which is a really selective way of seeing human history. It's very Western centric. So I'm glad that I think it's right that the Greeks got a second and the Indus Valley got a second. I like that kind of balance.
Maybe it's those horse people talking about their cousins or something.
Indo-Iranians.
And they wrote some hymns and mantras.
Way!
You could make a religion out of this. There's the Bronze Age collapse. Now the Phoenicians can get down.
So that's one thing they didn't touch on. It's like when the first writing happened, because I think that was the key point. I think there's a debate as to whether it first happened in Mesopotamia or Egypt. I might be wrong about that. But I mean, clearly that's a key point because human memories are pretty terrible.
Also, can we switch to a metal that's a little easier to find? Thanks. Look who came back to Israel. It's the 12 tribes of Israel. And they believe in God. No, he's got like a 10-step program. Some huge heads. Must be the Olmecs. The Phoenicians make some colonies. The Greeks copy their idea and make some colonies. The Phoenicians made a colony so big it makes colonies. Here comes the Assyrian Empire.
Carthaginian
It's the
Empire.
Babylonian Median. It's the Persian Empire. Wow, that's big. Ah, the Buddha was just enlightened. Who's the Buddha? This guy who sat under a tree for so long that he figured out how to ignore the fact that we're all dying. You can make religion.
So these are the major world religions.
But while it was breaking, Confucius
developed.
was figuring out how to have good morals. The Greeks just had the idea of thinking about stuff. And right over here, Alexander just had the idea of conquering the entire Persian Empire. It's a great idea.
It's insane just how quickly Alexander the Great conquered the Persian Empire. And it's also insane how quickly it split up. It was like, you blink and you miss it, basically, in terms of human history.
He was great. And now he's dead. Hopefully the rest of the gang will be able to share the empire evenly between them. Knock knock, it's Chandragupta. He says, get the hell out of here. Will you get the hell out of here if I give you 500 elephants? Okay, thanks, bye. Time to conquer all of India.
Okay.
Most of India. But what about this part? That's the Tamil Kings. No one conquers the Tamil Kings.
Because I think that's still the case. There's still a lot of Tamils in the south of India, in Sri Lanka. I think they're quite independently minded still.
The Tamil Kings. Merchants, probably. And they've got spices. Who would like to buy the spices? Me, said the Arabians, swiftly buying it and selling it to the rest of the world. Hey, China put itself back together again, with good morals as their main philosophy. Actually, they have 3 main philosophies.
Fuck
Out
you,
here, the horse nomads run wild and free, and they would like to ransack your city. Let's check the Greekification.
So I mean, that's actually a really key point in history. Is so for centuries and centuries, the kind of advanced civilizations of the Middle East, of China, of India, and to some extent of Europe were continually ravaged by various steppe nomads. And a really key point was when technology got so advanced that the settled peoples could easily resist nomadic invasion. And that only really happened in 16th, 17th century. I mean, it was firearms that made a huge difference. Before that, nomad armies were incredibly hard to stop. So that's a really key point in terms of kind of the changing of the balance of power in the world.
Levels of the Greekified kingdoms. Greekification overload. Bye, said the Parthians. Bye, said the Jews. Hi, said the Parthians, taking over the entire place.
That was quick.
Hey, said the Romans, eating the entire Mediterranean for breakfast. Thanks for invading our homeland, said the Jews, who were starting to get tired of people invading their homeland. Hi, everything's great, said some guy who seems to be getting very popular and is then arrested and killed for being too popular, which only makes him more popular. You can make a religion out of this. Now you can buy it from China. They just made a road to the world.
What's that? So the Silk Road.
Or you can
conquering Vietnam.
Sick, new
I mean, I know China's made several attempts to conquer Vietnam. I mean, the most recently being only a few decades ago. And Vietnam's always managed to maintain its independence, which is pretty incredible, really, when you consider their comparable size.
Trade routes, said India, accidentally spreading their religion to the entire southeast. That's a good place for an epic trading kingdom. There goes Buddhism traveling up the Silk Road. I wonder if it'll reach China before it collapses again. Remember the Persian Empire? Yep, so
Yep.
the Persians making a new one. Axum is getting so powerful they would like to build a long stick. Has anyone populated Madagascar yet? Let's do it together.
Yeah, so I know Madagascar and New Zealand were two of the kind of the last significant land masses to actually be colonised by humans. I mean, their human population is so much younger than that of, Africa or Asia or whatever.
Together.
I'm loving this. Oh no! Oh no!
Still can't cross.
It's going so well.
Try camels. Hell yeah! Now we got business. Said the Ghana Empire, selling lots of gold and slaves. Hi,
I find that, I mean, I don't know much about them, but the Ghana Empire, the Malian Empire, the Ethiopians, all these kind of major African of kingdoms, but we don't know much about in the West. I find them really, really fascinating, and kind of the trade across the Sahara, which was almost a complete block between them and the civilizations of Europe and Arabia.
I live in the Roman Empire, and I was wondering, is loving Jesus legal yet? No. Actually, okay, sure, said Constantine, moving the capital way over here to be closer to his main rival. Don't worry about Rome, it won't fall. It's the golden age of India. It's the Gupta Empire, not Chandragupta, just Gupta. First name Chandra.
So
I
know. I'm embarrassed how little I know about early Indian history.
By non-Romans. R.I.P. Roman Empire. Actually, just half of it. The other half is just fine, but it's not in Rome anymore, so let's give it a new name. The Mayans have figured out the stars. Oh, and here's a huge city, population everyone. The Gok Turks have taken over the entire Eurasian steppe. Great job, Gok Turks. How's India?
So they're one of the many nomadic peoples who came out of the steppe, and probably for about 1,000 years, nomadic, or longer than that, honestly, 2,000 years, nomadic invasions of the steppe were devastating for settled peoples. And as I say, it wasn't really until the 1600s that settled peoples really started to get a grip on that.
China. Back together.
Yay! Good old China.
Korea has 3 kingdoms. Japan has a kingdom. It's the Sunrise Kingdom.
Intermission!
Desert, on the top of a mountain, the real God whispers in Muhammad's ear.
So this is Islam.
Everyone worships gods, and he tells them their gods are all fake. And everyone got so mad at him that he had to leave town and go to a different town. You can make a religion out of this, and maybe conquer the world as well. The Roman Empire is long gone, but somehow the Pope is still the Pope.
I love how in this video, like, if you skip 10 seconds and you've skipped like an entire era of human history. I mean, obviously they're doing the entire history of the world in 20 minutes, so entirely understandable. But I'm trying to. You have to really pay attention.
Plus, there's new kingdoms all over Europe. I wonder if there's room for Moors. Here's all the wisdom in a house.
Oh, I see.
The Baghdad House of Wisdom. Just in time for the Islamic Golden Age. Let's bring stuff to the coast and sell it and become the Swahili on the Swahili coast, said the Swahili on the Swahili coast. Remember this tiny space you have to go through to get from here to there? Someone owns that now. Want to get light in the middle of nowhere? The Franks have the biggest kingdom in Europe.
It is genuinely embarrassing how like Western-centric my knowledge is. Like all this stuff about Indonesia and East Africa. I know so little of it. And I'd love to learn more because it's fascinating. And it's, I mean, just as important to world history as whatever was happening in what's now France or Italy.
And the Pope is so proud that he invites the king over for Christmas. Surprise, you're the new Roman emperor, said the Pope, pretending to still be part of the Roman Empire.
Yes.
Then the Franks broke their kingdom into what will later be called France and not France. The Northerners, or just Norse if you don't have much time, are exploring. They go north, from the north to the northern north, and they find some land, 2 types of land, and they name them accordingly. They also invade some other places and get called many names, such as Vikings. There's the Rus, the Kievan Rus. Are they Vikings? I don't think so, said the Kievan Rus. Okay, fair enough. The Pope is ready to make some more emperors of the Roman Empire, the Holy Roman Empire.
So the Holy Roman Empire is famous for being neither holy nor Roman nor empire, as some famous historian called it.
Actually, Germany, but don't worry about it. New kingdoms.
Germany, Italy. Yeah, so you can see the kind of the invention of the first European kingdoms. I mean, it's England, which is also one I'm most familiar with, was basically created in response to Viking raiding. So, I mean, without the Vikings, there's probably been no unified England.
Which brand would you like? Mine's better. Mine's better. Mine's better. Time to conquer England, said William. It's a bird, it's a plane. It's the Seljuk Turks, said the Byzantine Empire, who's getting so small it almost doesn't exist anymore. We need help. They need help, so they call the Pope. Hey, Pope, can you help us get rid of the Seljuks? Maybe take back the Holy Land on the way? Come on, I know you want to take back the Holy Land. Yes, I do actually want to do that. Let's do a crusade. Crusade! They did many crusades, some of which almost didn't...
I mean, the huge irony is that the Crusades turned out to be a disaster for the Byzantine Empire, because, I mean, the Crusaders sacked Constantinople.
fail, but at least the Italians got some sweet trade deals. Goodbye,
Very nice.
Hello, Toltecs. Goodbye, Toltecs. Hello, Mississippi. Look at those mounds. There's the Pueblo. I always wondered how to build a town in a cliff. Guess who's here?
So I know
Where?
nothing about
Here.
this.
And Pagan is there. Vietnam unconquered itself, Korea just became itself, and Japan is so addicted to art that the military might have to take over the government. China just invented bombs and typing.
Oh,
The
wow.
Mongols just invaded most of the universe.
Yeah, so
Let's go,
this
Genghis.
is
I
the
bet that
most.
will last.
This is obviously the most successful of all the nomadic invaders, and there were tons of them. The Mongols were the most
It's a
successful.
long time. Some of the Islamic Turks were unaffected by the Mongol invasions because they were busy invading India.
Oh,
Is
the
it
Delhi
Tonga time? I
Sultanate.
think
Yeah.
it's Tonga time. I just found out where the Swahili gets all their gold. Look at this Chad.
Ah.
Means lake. There's an empire there, right in the middle of Africa. The king of Mali is so rich he's going on tour to let it.
Yeah, I've read about this. So this was he went on Hajj to Mecca. This was the king of Mali, and he took a huge caravan with him. It was an incredibly wealthy kingdom. And you know, all the Europeans and the Arabs were incredibly impressed by this guy, and for a very long time, Mali and kind of sub-Saharan Africa was associated with great wealth, with great gold. I mean, I honestly wish there was more history about like the early African kingdoms. There should be like Netflix series on them.
Everyone know. Wow, that guy's rich, everyone said. The Christians are doing a great job reconquering Iberia, which will soon be called Spain and not Spain. Please remain Christian. We will check in later to see if you're still Christian when you least expect. Whoops, half of Europe just died. China's back, yay! Hey, come here, time to share. New kingdoms here and there.
Oh, wow.
Look who controls all the islands. It's the Mahajapit, Majahapit, Mapajahit, Mahapajit, Mapajahit,
Okay,
Majapahit. Oh, Italy.
My dyslexia makes me sympathise with.
Ancient classics. It's kind of like a rebirth.
the
Here's a printer.
Renaissance?
Let's make books. So you think you?
I mean, there's a big argument about how much of a rebirth was Renaissance, really. Because I mean, a lot of the kind of the Roman classical ideas, first of all, they never really died in Europe, and second of all, they were always alive in other parts of the world, and particularly in the Islamic areas.
Can conquer the Byzantine Empire? Yep, said the Ottoman Turks. Nice job, Ottoman Turks.
You missed a bit.
A spot. Don't forget to ban Europe from the Indian spice trade. What? That's bullshit, said Portugal, spiceless. Well, I guess we'll have to find another way to India.
I mean, again, you can see how the knock-on effects of history. So if the Byzantine Empire had never fallen, and the direct trade route to India had remained, would Europeans have ever colonised so much of the Americas and Africa? I don't know. I think it's a fascinating question.
Wait, said Christopher Columbus, probably smoking crack. If the world is round, let's go this way to India. No, don't worry, we already got this, said Portugal.
Yeah.
So Chris goes to Spain. Hey, Spain, want to hire me to find India by going around back of the world? No, please, no, please, no, please. Okay. So he sails into the ocean and discovers more ocean, and then discovers the Indies and Japan. Let's draw a line to decide
Yes,
which is for the world. The Aztec
not quite
and
how
Incan
it went.
empires are off to a great start. I wonder if they know that Europe just discovered their continent. The Habsburgs are marrying into so many royal families they might have to start marrying each other. Move over, Lithuania. Here comes Moscow. Ivan wants to make Russia great again. Move over, Timurids. Maybe go invade India or something. Persia just made Persia Persian again. Let's make it the other kind of Islam. The one where we thought the first guy should have been the other guy.
Yes, they haven't dealt with the big division in Islam, which is over who would be Muhammad's successor, which is a fascinating story. And obviously the Shia were the losing faction, the Sunni were the winning faction, but that divide is still really pronounced throughout Islam today.
Hey Christians, do you sin? Now you can buy your way out of hell. That's bullshit. This whole thing is bullshit. That's a scam. Fuck the church. Here's 95 reasons why, said Martin Luther in his new book, which might have accidentally started the Protestant Reformation.
Yes,
You know what would be magnificent, said Suleiman wearing an onion hat? What if the Ottoman Empire was really big, which it is now? What if Russia was big, said Ivan, trying not to be terrible? Portugal had a dream that they controlled the entire Indian Ocean, including the spice trade. And then that dream was real. And
So this is the beginning of kind of European colonialism.
Spain realized that this is not India, but they pillaged it anyway. Damn, said England and France. We gotta start pillaging some stuff. Then the Dutch revolt and all the hipsters moved to Amsterdam. Damn, said Amsterdam. We gotta start pillaging some stuff. Question 1, can you get to India through North America? No, but at least there's beaver. Question 2, steal the spice trade. That's not
See
a
what you
question,
did
but
there.
the Dutch did it anyway. Guess where all the sugar's made? In Brazil. Stolen. In the Caribbean. And it's so goddamn profitable you might forget to not do slavery. The next thing on Russia's to-do list is to get bigger. Britain and France are having a friendly discussion about who should control the entire world, more specifically Ohio. Then it escalates into a 7-year discussion, giving...
So yeah, this is obviously the 7 Years' War, called I think the French and Indian War in North America. Some people call it the First World War because it truly was. I mean, there was fighting in North America, in Europe, in India, in Africa as well, I think. In some ways it was the first truly global conflict.
Prussia a chance to show Austria who's boss. But what about Britain and France? Did they figure out who's boss? Yes, they did. It's Britain. Guess who's broke? Also Britain. So they start taxing the hell out of America. Fuck you, says America, declaring their independence and fighting
And
for it.
we've
France
covered
keeps
this
them
in quite a
waiting.
few
Now France
videos
is
now.
broke. And Britain will have to send their prisoners to a different continent. Wait, if France is broke, why do the king and queen still wear such fancy dresses? Let's overthrow the palace and cut all their heads off, said Robespierre, cutting everybody's head off until someone eventually got mad and cut his head off. You could make a no, don't. Maybe he's starting to like the idea of a revolution, especially the slaves who free themselves by killing their masters. Why didn't we think of this before? Wait, who's in charge?
If I remember rightly, I think Napoleon ended up suppressing the Haiti Revolution. So it's kind of obviously ironic, is the French Revolution being about liberty, and then in the end they end up crushing other revolutions themselves.
In charge of France now.
Napoleon!
Trying to take over Europe. Luckily, they banished him to an island. But he came back. Luckily, they banished him to another island. There goes Latin America, becoming independent in the Latin American Wars of Independence. Britain just figured out how to turn steam into power, so now they can make many different types of machines.
So this is the Industrial Revolution.
Machines in them, so they can make a lot of products real fast.
Yeah!
Then they invent some trains and conquer India and maybe put some trains there. Hey, China, said Britain, buy stuff from us. Nah, dude, we already got everything, says China. So Britain tried to get them addicted to opium, which worked, actually.
Yes.
But then China made it illegal and dumped it all into the sea. So Britain threw a hissy fit and made them open up 5 cities and give them...
So these are the 2 opium wars. Well, this is probably the first opium war because the second one also involved France. But it was, I mean, Britain was acting like a drugs cartel. It was literally a war to maintain access to your drugs market.
An island. Britain and Russia are playing a game where they try to stop each other from conquering Afghanistan. Also, the Sultan of Oman lives in Zanzibar now.
Yeah.
That's just where he lives. India just had a revolution, and they would like to govern themselves now. Nope, said Britain, governing them even harder than before.
So that was, in the UK, it's known as the Sepoy Mutiny, which really downplays what happens. I think Indians call it the Indian War of Independence, which is far more accurate. Although, I mean, there were also quite a lot of Indians fighting on the British side. But yeah, no, it was a really brutal conflict.
Technology is about to go crazy. The United States finally figured out whether slavery is good or bad. It's bad, they decided. And then...
You know, finally. I mean, the point about technology, I know I said this earlier, but the rate of progress has just become... I mean, if you lived in like the 5th or 6th century, you could very easily go your whole life without seeing really any technological change at all. I mean, same in the Middle Ages, maybe a tiny bit more, but then you get through to the Industrial Revolution, and you'll see a fair amount of change in your life. And then it comes to the modern era, and you know, just in my lifetime, smartphones have become ubiquitous. You know, the social media has erupted. I mean, the level of technological evolution has become insane.
And they continued manifesting their destiny, which is to kill the rest of the natives and take their land and maybe kick out the Mexicans too. I know, let's rape Africa, said Europe, scrambling to see who could rape it the fastest. They never got Ethiopia.
Yeah.
Britain and France...
Oh, Ethiopia is such a fascinating country because it's one of the oldest countries in the world. It's Christian, and it's got its own form of Christianity. And the fact it was never conquered during or at least until the 30s. I mean, the Italians tried, and the Ethiopians defeated them, which was, at the time, pretty much unheard of.
They're still hungry. They never got Thailand.
No.
The United States ran out of destiny to manifest, so they're looking for more. Cuba. Wait, Spain controls Cuba. Well, blame something on them and go to war. What should we blame on Spain? Let's blame the Maine on Spain. So they blame the Maine on Spain.
This was America's very brief period This was America's very brief spell as an almost kind of European-style colonial empire, which they kind of went off quite quickly. And again, there's a really interesting question as to what would have happened if the Americans had stayed as imperialistic as the British and the French, etc.
Now, connecting the 2 oceans. Britain just found oil in the Middle East. China is so tired of being bossed around that they delete their old government and make a new, stronger government, which is accidentally weaker and controlled by a guy from the previous government. Europe hasn't had a war since the...
So that's Chiang Kai-shek. So now we're getting to the Chinese Civil War, which obviously leads to the rise of the CCP.
Last war. So they start World War I. Look at those guns. It's going to be a great war. So great we won't need a second one. After
yes, that went well.
Russia went on strike and the workers overthrew the government. Now everyone's paycheck is the same.
Not for long though. That changed.
Helps. Now the Ottoman Empire is gone, so we can give the Jewish people a place to live.
Yes.
Hopefully the Arabs won't mind. Let's cut the cake, said Sykes and Picot, carving up the...
Yeah, I mean, this is the famous Great Betrayal at the end of the First World War, when Britain promised Palestine and other parts of the Middle East to the Jews, the Arabs, and also to the French, and then obviously couldn't keep all the promises, so created a very fractured political situation.
The remains of the not-so-Ottoman anymore empire. Except Turkey makes a brand new Turkey. And then the Saudis conquer Arabia.
That's a
It just
Turk.
seemed like the right thing to do.
Yes.
Hello? Yes, it's the 1920s calling. Let's get in the car and drive to a party and listen to jazz on the radio and go to the movies.
Whoa, hey!
The economy's great and it'll probably be great forever. Just kidding. Yeah. Germany's back featuring Hitler, the angry mustache model. He's mad at the Jews for existing. Japan is finally conquering the East, and they're so excited they raped Nanking way too hard. They should probably just deny it. Hitler's out of control, so the international community tackles him and tries to explain why killing all the Jews is a bad idea. But he kills himself before they could...
Yeah, though that's definitely a fair point to make.
That's World War II. Bonus round, Pacific Showdown. United States versus Japan. Fight. Finish him. Let's unite all the...
I mean, even obviously there's big moral questions about using nukes, but even leaving that to one side, I mean, the size of the United States economy compared to the size of the Imperial Japanese or the Nazi German economy was not even close. America was just vastly bigger. And the same was the case with the USSR. I mean, you know, we think of the Cold War as being a rivalry between two equals, but it wasn't really. America was always significantly stronger than the Soviets. But what's kind of interesting about the current political situation is that China is actually genuinely catching up with America in terms of the net size of its economy. I mean, it's on track to surpass it. So that means America will face a rival which is generally as big and strong as it is, which it hasn't done since, well, the British in the 19th century or early 20th century.
The nations and have some world peace. Seems legit. Hi, I'm Gandhi, and if Britain doesn't get the hell out of India, I'm going to starve myself in public. Wow, that worked.
Yes.
Bonus, now there's Pakistan. Actually, two Pakistans. One of them could be Bangladesh later. The Jews and the Arabs finally figured out which one of them should live in the Holy Land. Me, they both said at the same time. Let's divide up the land so everyone's happy. So
that's the what was it? The Arab-Israeli War of '48, the Yom Kippur War, the Six-Day War. The Six-Day War is such an interesting subject, by the way. I'd love to do a video on it. But yeah, there's a whole series of wars and conflicts which obviously have never really stopped.
There's a new China in China. What's on the menu? Communism. No thanks, said the other China, escaping to an island. I wonder which one is the real China. There's the Korean War, Korea versus Korea. Nobody wins, then it's on pause forever.
So I mean, the real China thing was a big issue for a long time because for quite a while the Western powers still recognised the Republic of China, which is basically Taiwan, as the real China. And it was for this reason that the Soviets boycotted the UN around the time of the Korean War. And because of that, the Western powers were able to act through the UN. So the army that confronted North Korea and eventually China was a UN army. Had Russia still been on the UN Security Council, they could have vetoed it. So it's kind of an interesting case of a real diplomatic cock-up.
Let's meet the sponsors. Oh, it's the two global superpowers. They're having a friendly debate over which economic system is good and which one is an evil virus of Satan. And they both have atom bombs.
Yeah.
Fight! Wait, no, that would be the end of the world. Let's just keep it cool and spy on each other instead. And make sure we have enough atom bombs. I'll race you to space.
And obviously there are a whole ton of proxy conflicts. I mean, literally all around the world in which the two superpowers support different sides. And I mean, a lot of the proxy wars are very brutal, although clearly nothing like as bad as a direct war between the US and USSR would have been.
Now let's make some more countries fight themselves. Europe is tired of pillaging other continents, and the continents they were pillaging are tired of being pillaged. So here's a new map with new countries. Now you can't tell who they're being pillaged by. The United States finally...
Although, I mean, some of the European countries did make I mean, there's a variation, but some European countries did make a real effort to hold on to their empire. They didn't just give it up quite as easily as I think this video perhaps implies. So, I mean, the French, for example, and the Dutch, and in certain places the British, fought wars to try and keep their empires, and they were just unsuccessful.
They decided whether racism is good or bad. They decided it's bad, and the world agrees. South
Yes.
Africa might need another minute to think about it. Let's check the world population. Whoa.
Some people haven't got that message.
Technology's better too, that might keep happening. The Soviet Union decides to relax a little and accidentally falls apart. Europe makes a union, so now they can all use the same money, except Britain, because they don't feel like it.
Yeah,
Let's
that's
check
a
the mail.
whole nother
Surprise,
story.
It's on the computer. Whoops, someone just attacked America. I bet they'll remember that. Phone call,
9/11.
surprise, it's in your pocket. Want to learn everything? Surprise, it's on the computer. Now your phone's a computer, which is in your pocket. Whoops, the economy just crashed. Don't worry, the big banks won't fail because they're not supposed to. Surprise, flying robots. With bombs.
Drones.
Some people have no friends. Some people have no food. The globe is warming. And the ocean is full of plastic. Let's save the planet, said everybody, not knowing how. Let's invent a thing inventor, said the thing inventor after being invented by a thing inventor.
So okay,
Cool.
so
By the way, where the hell are we?
this is going into the future, I take it, and obviously, I say the one thing this really brings out. I mean, first of all, I think they did a really good job of showing the world, the history of the world in 20 minutes, and not making it too Western centric. Showing civilizations of India and China and Africa and so on, which is a lot of Westerns in particular kind of tend to forget about. But the other thing it really shows is just how history is almost speeding up. So I mentioned this earlier, but the rate of technological innovation is becoming insane. And it seems like the humans are on the verge of leaving the planet to a significant extent. So I mean, the amount of stuff in space is rapidly increasing. So that's probably the next big chapter in our history. But anyway, that was an amazing video. It was really, really interesting. There was a lot I didn't know very much about, honestly. So it's given me lots more things to research. But I hope you enjoyed that. It's been an absolute honour to have you with me. And as a YouTuber, please do subscribe, like, comment below, see if you agree with me about the kind of the quickening pace of technology. And I hope to see you again. Thank you.